Bob Filner agreed to resign last week only after the San Diego City Council agreed to cover the cost of his defense in a sexual harassment lawsuit filed by his former communications director. City Attorney Jan Goldsmith helped hammer out that agreement with Filner. He joins me now. Before we get into the details of that settlement agreement, another city worker has come forward. Her name is Stacey McKenzie. She worked for the Parks Department for 32 years. She says that Bob Filner put her in a headlock, grabbed her, and fondled her. Is the city obligated to defend her claim if it turns into a lawsuit?
Yeah, it hasn't been filed as a lawsuit yet, but the answer to that question is we would provide a joint defense through our office of the city and Mr. Filner the way we do with any employees. He would sign a waiver allowing our office to provide defense to both. It doesn't cost us anything really more, all that much. We just file one answer and all that. Importantly, we preserve the right to seek reimbursement against him, we being the city, should there be a judgment against the city arising out of his conduct. What's more, should he be hit with punitive damages, that's completely on his nickel.
So give us a tally, though. How many women have actually filed sexual harassment claims against the city?
Well, we're aware of maybe 3 or 4, but during the time that he was gone for the 2-3 weeks, my office sent investigators all over City Hall. They've interviewed over 50 people, and we have a fairly good idea of what has happened. Not everything, because Mr. Filner got around a lot, but we had spoken with Stacey. We understand what her accusation is and what allegedly happened, and we understand about others.
So the city has settled with Bob Filner. They've agreed to pay the $98,000 to his personal attorneys, and they've agreed to provide his defense in the sexual harassment lawsuit filed by his former communications director, Irene McCormick-Jackson. What's the status of that lawsuit at this point?
Well, it's still ongoing. And
what kind of leverage does she have now that the city has settled with Bob Filner?
Well, I'm going to talk in terms of what this situation is, and let Irene and her lawyer, Gloria Allred, determine their leverage, and they're negotiating and whatever. But Irene remains an employee and a valuable employee of the city of San Diego. She never lost her job. As soon as the claim was made, the Assistant Chief Operating Officer, Scott Chadwick, brought her into his office and to do communication work. The interim mayor, Todd Gloria, has indicated she will be the communication director for the interim mayor. As an employer, we have an obligation to step up to the plate. That's why we do have an obligation to provide a joint defense, at least defend the city, and we have an obligation to pay damages should there be sexual harassment by a supervisor, including the mayor. We also have an obligation to take interim measures, and within 5 weeks, we removed a sitting mayor of the eighth largest city in the country. It was an amazing step taken by this employer. So from the standpoint of talking with the jury 2 years from now, should a case go to trial, I think the city of San Diego, as employer, has a very good record of responding to this situation.
City Attorney Jan Goldsmith, thanks for speaking to us today.
Thank you very much.